Welcome back, everybody. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to be doing a fun bonus episode. To me, 2024 has been an incredible year of horror movies. So, me and the fellow podcast hosts, we're going to do a top 10 horror movie ranking of the year. We're just going to go in our regular order, and I'm going to kick us off with some honorable mentions. Honorable mentions are Oddity. I thought it was great. I honestly feel terrible it didn't make my top 10. I got Trap. I know Dustin didn't care for it, but I had a lot of fun with Trap. Speak No Evil with James McAvoy gave an incredible performance. But that husband, that man has less backbone than a worm. Azrael, I really enjoyed Azrael and Smile too. That was those are my honorable mentions. But coming in at number 10, and it's disappointing, it's only number 10 for me, but I got Robert Eggers' fourth movie, Nosferatu. I gave the movie a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It's probably like an 8 out of 10 just off one watch. But I had a lot higher hopes for that one, but it was still a good movie. It just didn't reach that greatness that I was hoping for. Brian, you want to go next?
Yeah, give me a second here too, because I wanted to just kind of say, like, in comparison, especially to recent history, to me, 2024 was like a really loaded year for horror, without question. And I know that I've personally seen more newer horror movies this year than I think I maybe ever have, if I'm being honest. I mean, I'm sure a lot comes into play with that, but I don't know if another year we have ever been able to do something like this ranking show for a current year's films. And even with that said, I mean, there are a few that I can't put on this list, like Nosferatu, because I'm actually hopefully seeing it tonight. Also, one more disclaimer: there are some movies that I left off of this list that are, to use a line from Mike, objectively good, but not necessarily one of my favorites because, as I've said before, rewatchability and fun play a huge part in movies that I like. How much did I enjoy it? Kind of like Dustin said about the OG Alien. Don't go out there.com, by the way. It may be a movie that gets a high grade from me, but not necessarily one that I ever really want to watch again. A couple of my honorable mentions will be that. Um, and so one of those honorable mentions for me is The Substance. Great movie, great message, just almost no rewatchability to me. Another honorable mention for me is Smile 2. I do think that that was good. Just one glaring issue for me. It just barely slipped out of my top 10 is all. Um, it's on my list of movies to review. So, and also another non-horror honorable mention I wanted to shout out just because it's headed by Scream 5 star Mikey Madison, Anora. That movie is fun. It's funny as hell to me. Like, I really enjoy the hell out of that. Go check that out. Nico and I met her at Spooky Empire. She's so damn shy in real life. So this movie just shows how damn good of an actress she really is. But I said all that to get to number 10 for me is Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. We interviewed the writers, directors, hell, even one of the stars of the whole Pooniverse. We reviewed the first one. This one caught me by surprise how much damn fun I had with it. We did an instant reaction on this, but I know it's on my list to pick down the road as well.
Yeah, so no shocker. I'm not the big, let's go see cinema guy on this show. Not because I don't love movies. I'm actually making it a goal of mine for 2025 to get into theater more, to see more films along with Brother Dustin and Brother Nico. I hope to kind of join them in a lot more of these instant reactions they've been doing. Like Nosferatu, couldn't put on this list because I hadn't seen it yet. I plan to very soon, but I mean, whether it would have made my list or not, I'm not sure. But I will say 2024 was a great year for horror as far as new horror. And I'm not someone who kind of plugs into all the new movies like I've already mentioned, but it was a great year for the movies I've seen and the movies that we've already done and the movies that we plan to do. So I don't really have any honorable mentions. I will say, because we kind of talked about not doing any or kind of mentioning any non-horror ones that we've seen. Uh, I know it wasn't everyone's favorite, but I'm going to give a shout out to Kingdom of Planet of the Apes because that's one of my favorite franchises, and I thought it was a great entry in that franchise. So outside of that, don't really have any honorable mentions. My number 10 was Abigail. I really liked this film way more than I thought I was going to be honest, just because of the subject matter, any kind of possession, anything like that. It's just kind of has to be really, really good to kind of hit that note for me. I thought it was really great, suspenseful. The sound or sound design of that movie really makes me feel uncomfortable. Thought it was really good, great cast. Glad I finally did sit down and watch it, and I can't wait till we actually review the film.
All right, a couple things. Bear with me. I'm not feeling the best, so my voice is going to sound a little bit deeper than normal. But this year, I saw by far the most movies that I've ever seen in a calendar year. I saw, I think, 40 2024 horror release movies this year. Also, it's worth noting that I saw, I think, 65 to 70 movies in the theater this year. In general, I lost count, but I watched over 500 movies total. That's crazy. Anyway, before I get started, I want to give my bottom 5 movies of the year because I saw some stinkers and I want to save you from making the same mistake. I'll do it rapid fire and I will not elaborate unless asked to do so. So that'll keep it short and sweet. These will be the fifth or the absolute worst to the fifth worst that I saw this year. Werewolves, Terrifier 3, Rumors, Tarot, and The Crow. Dog
Hey,
shit. Um,
could you elaborate on
yeah.
Terrifier 3 for me, please?
I think we did an instant reaction. So yeah, I'll direct you to don'tgoouthere.com. Um, some other non-horror movies that I love this year, again, short and sweet, are We Live in Time and Sing Sing. I gave both of those a perfect 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And then in no order, A Complete Unknown, Gladiator 2, Bonhoeffer, Honora, Here, Goodrich, Saturday Night, and The Killer's Game. Just all great movies. Honorable mention as far as horror releases, I'm going to go with A Different Man from A24, starring Sebastian Stan. And I only put it as an honorable mention because I didn't think it was horror like at all. But the Wikipedia page for 2024 horror movies had it listed. So there you go. And I didn't include Godzilla Minus One on my list since it released in December of 2023 to theaters. But if I had, it would be number one on my list. And no worries if y'all counted it. I just had a long list to consider just 2024 releases. But my number 10 is Alien Romulus. It's my favorite movie in the franchise by a lot. The second half is phenomenal, and Kaylee Spaney is her. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all touched on some other non-horror movies as well. I agree, Brian. Honora was great. I'm glad you brought Gladiator too. I really enjoyed that one as well. Number 9 for me, and like me and Dustin kind of mentioned, like we did this, like we brought up this show a while back, and I always said like just because a movie is number 10 or 9 on my list doesn't mean it's bad. Like these are all like 8 and above. 9 for me is Strange Darling. I had a great time at the theater seeing this one. Kind of went on a whim to see it. I was going to go see Everything Everywhere All at Once that night, but I changed my mind to go see this one because I think this was the last showing at AMC for the week, and they were able to take it out. Great time with it. I love the out of sequence order it was in. Kyle Gallner, Willa Fitzgerald gave great performances. I'm looking forward to reviewing it.
Yeah, number 9 for me was Beetlejuice 2 or Beetlejuice. We did an instant reaction to this one as well. And I mean, let me preface that Nico and Dustin have instant reactions for just about every single thing that we've done. But I was just on this one, so I'm going to bring it up. But that they see everything in the theater. I usually have to wait till they stream, so I don't usually make those. But this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year with Keaton and Burton coming back. It drug in some places for me a little bit, but yeah, I really like this one a lot. I think they did amazingly tying it to the original.
All right. And by the way, I can't wait to see Strange Darling finally. I'm excited. I won't spoil anything, but I'm glad that we finally get to do it. Anyway, my number 9 is. Sorry, I had a little beep there. My number 9 is M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. And again, I can only go off of the movies I've seen, right? I can't, so, number 9, I actually really enjoyed it. I had a good time, or more of a fun time with it than Dustin did. We did an instant reaction. I went and saw this in the theater. I believe the opening night or the next night that it came out. I thought, Josh Hartnett was great. I thought M. Night Shyamalan's daughter was great. And I know that this movie, M. Night Shyamalan's kind of the twist king. This movie had a twist, but it gave it away in the trailer, and I know that kind of hurt the movie score for some people. But actually, was able to have fun with it because of that. It kind of got that out of the way. Wasn't looking for it the whole time. I was just kind of able to enjoy this serial killer, on the loose at basically a mock Taylor Swift show, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It did go on a little too long towards the end. Like, all right, let's wrap this up. We're trying to make it go a little further, bloat that runtime. But all in all, I thought it was a solid entry for for M. Night Shyamalan.
All right, number 9 for me is going to be Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Super fun movie to me. Kumail Nanjiani was a great addition to the squad, and McKenna Grace is a budding star. My biggest gripe is, of course, that we needed more Bill Murray. I gave it a 4 out of 5 also.
Yeah, number 8 for me is Ty West's third entry in the X trilogy. I got Maxine. I grew to like this movie more with more and more rewatches. I wish it was a little higher on my list, but I gave it 8.5. I'm still happy with it.
Number 8 for me, Oddity. It was a surprise film of the year for me. Damian McCarthy wrote and directed it. It nails the atmosphere, in my opinion. It's creepy as hell. It's on my list to review. I really enjoyed this one.
The jump scares went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a hard time kind of placing the middle of the pack here because all these movies kind of run together as far as in my mind, score wise. But I went with at number 8. I went with In a Violent Nature because I finally did sit down and watch it, and I understand the not rewatchability of this movie for a lot of people. But when I think of what I like from a slasher movie, this is a very unique take on a slasher film. I understand the kind of slow, methodical pace that it takes, but the kills are great. Like, you gotta really recognize that that's what I'm looking for in a slasher. This is basically a Jason movie from Jason's perspective. Like, it's a different mask, but like that's the whole point of the film. Just like 4 maybe top kills of all time for me. Like, just like, wow, that is some good stuff. And I do like the perspective. I was a little disappointed what they didn't do more with the killer's POV. Like, give me a little bit more character depth, I think, for the killer. But other than that, I thought it was really well shot, really well made, really creative. And I think there's a space to be, that kind of creative. So I went with In a Violent Nature at number 8.
Yeah, my number 8 is going to sound familiar to Brian. Oddity. Yeah, great atmosphere, great scares. There's tension from beginning to end with great twists. Very disappointed that more people didn't have the chance to see this one in theaters because it was a great theatrical experience. 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd for me, and that one too.
Yeah, that cell phone jump scare. Whew, that
Mhm.
one got me. That one scared the hell out of me. All right, number 7 for me is Alien Romulus. We had Trevor Newland, the xenomorph, on our show. I'm really surprised that Alien Romulus made it this high. Like, I really enjoy it. I think it's probably my favorite. I got to rewatch Aliens again, but it's probably my favorite of the franchise. Kaylee Spaney was great, but that man David Johnson gave an acting performance. I loved it. I'm looking forward to reviewing that one.
Now, I've liked all the movies that I've listed, but I love the rest of these. Um, I don't know if any of these would or will get a below a 9 actually for me the rest of the way, and that's saying a lot. Number 7 and could easily be higher for me, Maxine. Uh, Nico brought that up. We reviewed this already. Don't go out there.com. I gave it a 9, and it's my favorite in the franchise. I did actually get to see this one in the theater, so mark that one off.
Say it. Say it. Before Mike goes, say it. Murder.
You know what? Was that from that movie? I didn't even remember what movie that was from at this point.
You were doing his Maxine's dad impression.
That's right.
Murder.
Murder.
Man, when things become a meme, you kind of forget where they come from, originally all the time. My number 7, finally saw it about 3 weeks ago, is Beetlejuice. I had such a fun time with this, man. Return to that character, return to that universe. I thought that Jenna Ortega was a nice addition as far as to the OG cast. And honestly, it's just a lot of nostalgic fun. I would still take the original over this one, but it was kind of nice to step back into that universe. I will just go ahead and say here, as much as I like this movie, I'm not sure a third one, which keeps being bantied about, is necessary. I thought we kind of got everything I wanted from another Beetlejuice film personally. But I thought that Keaton was great in the role. Honestly, he may have played Beetlejuice better in this movie just because I felt like he kind of knew what people were expecting from that character. I thought it was a lot of fun, and that's why it's at number 7.
Yeah, my number 7 is Y2K. I went into this one not knowing there was really horror elements to it. I thought it was going to be a pretty straightforward comedy, but there's an abundance of kills, so definitely expect me to pick this one soon for a review. I loved it. Fred Durst for Senate, 4 out of 5.
All right, number 6 for me is Granddaddy Longlegs. This was a movie that was so freaking hyped this year. The social media campaign went crazy. Neon pushing hard for my man Nicolas Cage to win an Oscar. I think me and Dustin were both pretty disappointed with Longlegs after our first watch, but subsequent rewatches, reviewing it, I grew to love it more and more. Got to meet Alicia Witt. We did the Nun pose together. I really like Longlegs. I think it's really good.
Number 6 for me, I think you guys have already touched on this, Strange Darling. I was actually really surprised how much I ended up liking this. It's on my list to pick. If it's not coming down the road, I'm not real sure. I think Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald killed it. Again, a 9 or above movie for me. Easily rewatchable. Always something going on, and the twist his dick was fantastic as well.
Yeah, I kind of hinted at it in the chat, I guess, earlier in the week that this movie would be higher than probably most people would have it. But my number 6 is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. I have such a great time with this Poohniverse, man. It's so freaking fun, and I think I definitely like the original a little bit more than you guys. But you guys didn't crap on it or anything. You guys still had fun with it. But this movie just builds upon it, and it's better. Like, it's honestly just a step above. It doesn't take itself so seriously, but it takes itself just serious enough where I'm like, damn, this is a good movie. Like, written really well. The kills, again, just like the first one, are great. I can't wait till excuse me. God dang, guys, I'm also sick, so just bear with me here. Very, very good. Love this movie. That's why it's a number 6.
Yeah, my number 6 is going to be Maxine. Probably my favorite in the trilogy, especially since Michelle Monaghan got what was coming to her. Had a ton of fun with it. Gave it 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
You need to leave Maggie Hart alone.
Yeah, no comment.
All right, number 5 for me is one that's been named already, but Beetlejuice. I loved it. I had a great time. I've rewatched it several times. It's so fun. I've got a birthday bonus coming up soon. I'm going to send it to everybody. It's just a 2024 superlative, basically. Beetlejuice was the best experience I had at the theater all year. It was so fun. Dolby Digital. There were so many people dressed up as Beetlejuice, as Lydia, rocking the shirts. Everybody had a great time, laughed together. It's what made cinema special that night. I had a great time with it.
All right, top 5 for me. Number 5, Heretic. We're reviewing this one coming up, I think. So I guess I probably spoiled my score unless I end up changing on the rewatch. But again, I really like this one. This one really stuck with me after I watched it. I'm big into religion, so even the facts and that this one was spitting really hit hard. Hugh Grant was great, and one of the few A24 movies that wasn't full of its own shit. This one is fresh on my mind, and I'm ready for a rewatch on this one.
Again,
hey, put a note. Nope. Put a note to edit yourself out right there.
Again, another movie I can't wait to actually sit down and watch. Definitely going to get on that. Like you said, it's coming up in a review, so I'll probably just hold off until then. But all right, my number 5 is Daddy Longlegs itself. The first time I saw this movie, I was kind of like you guys, where I was like, that was fine. But when we sat down and watched it for the review, I really do enjoy it. Now, again, I have some qualms with Nick Cage's performance as Longlegs, but other than that, it kind of plays like a very, again, to me, it plays like a very modern Silence of the Lambs, and I enjoy that atmosphere that it sets. And again, Nick Cage is good. I just think he overdoes it sometimes, but make no mistake, this movie is suspenseful, creepy. Honestly, one of the creepiest movies, for lack of a better term, that we've done in a long time. Like, it just made me feel uneasy the last 45 minutes of the runtime. So it definitely entered the top 5 as far as my 2024 movies because of that.
Yeah, number 5 for me is Strange Darling. From the 35 millimeter film it was shot on to the nonlinear way the story is told, I love pretty much everything about the movie. Super underrated film. 4 out of 5.
All right, number 4 for me is it's time to pump it up, boys. The Substance. I really loved it. One of the most unexpected, pleasant movies of the year, honestly. Me and Dustin went on a whim one night. I had no clue about it. I was dreading it, honestly, just because of the runtime. What an experience. What an experience seeing that third act on the big screen. Hell of a movie. Hell of a movie.
All right, number 4 for me. You guys have already brought it up. Alien Romulus. Love this movie. I missed the damn instant reaction because I got in a little fender bender, and I actually almost said that I got rear-ended, but I know I'd get gavelled for that one. So it's
No,
on my list.
my my gavel's in a storage unit. You're good
Oh, okay, good.
from the move.
It's on my list to pick as well. We'll go fully in depth into that one soon. But Fede Alvarez, he cooked with this one to say what the young kids say. David Johnson stole the show. Best acting performance I've seen in a long time from him. Now, if Ridley Scott will get the fuck out of Fede's way and let him do the sequel. But anyway, we like Nico mentioned, we interviewed Trevor Newland from this one. So check it out. Don't go out there.com. Such a fun ass flick.
Now, like I mentioned on our original Alien review, that had to be a really cool full circle moment for you.
I
Brian.
knew this was
To
coming.
be able to
I
see
know it.
original Alien in the theater and to be able to see this one in the theater, it's probably really fun for you, dude. I'm
hate-
proud of you, buddy. And you use cool hip lingo at the end.
I hate you.
Man, I'm surprised you didn't use on fleek. Anyway,
On God, that was my Riz is peak today.
that's cap. It's cap. Anyway, my number 4 is Smile 2. I like this one a lot more than I thought I was going to. We did Smile, and I actually liked it more than you guys. But again, had some flaws, and this one has some flaws too. But I think it's such a better movie than the original. It builds on the lore. The story is more interesting. The opening scene is fantastic, and I do like the fact that it has the balls to not give us a happy ending at the end. Like, nope, this virus, for lack of a better term, is still out there because it's always going to be out there. And I like the messaging of that. Really, really enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
Yeah, number 4 for me is Abigail. It's incredibly fun. Perfect balance of comedic relief and tension with plenty of blood and creative kills. Kevin Durant was phenomenal. He was so funny in that movie to me. It exceeded my expectations by a lot. I actually gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 because I had so much fun with it.
Yep, number 3 for me, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the elite of my list. 3 could easily be 2. It could easily be number 1. Honestly, I got to see it on a rescreening recently. Godzilla -1. I got bamboozled and hoodwinked by AMC because I bought a ticket to go see Minus Color, but they still showed it in color. Shout out to Jamie Johnson. It was incredible. That the movie has heart. We just released our review of it. It has heart. It has action. It has everything you could possibly want of a Godzilla movie. I was blown away.
Wow, that surprises me. It's number 3 for me. A new one you guys haven't heard before, Godzilla -1. But you know what? I wanted to say this the other day when we did the review because we've already reviewed it. Don't go there.com. I gave it a 10, but Dustin brought up a really good point about the minus color is that you cannot see the blue atomic breath. And I'm very interested in watching that now because that to me was a big part of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, one of the most enjoyable movies I've seen in a long time. Long watch, but a great one.
I want to take a moment to just also give Godzilla -1 its flowers. I left it off my list because December 2023, and I just gotten around to seeing it. But had I included it in my list, it would have been number 2, number 1. Depending on my mood that day. So fantastic film. Go listen to our review at don'tgooutthere.com. Okay, because I believe I gave it a 9.5, if I'm not mistaken. So my number 3, honestly, these 3 are interchangeable to me. All movies that I really, really loved this year. My top 3. One, I cannot believe it's in the top 3, to be honest with you. But my number 3 is actually going to be Maxine, the finish to Ty West's X trilogy. Thought it was great. Mia Goth is awesome. I love this lore, this universe that this movie puts us in. Pearl X in this movie is maybe one of my, honestly, it may be my favorite trilogy horror-wise that I've ever seen. Just as far as movies that are in sequence in a row, I think it plays the best if you watch them all 3 together. And now that I've done that, I can't believe I've done that, but I have done that. I won't ever sit and watch movies that long again, but I've done that now, and I had a lot of fun with it. Maxine, fantastic film. You can listen to our review at don'tgooutthere.com. Glad it came out just in time on streaming, so Dustin didn't have to ixnay my pick for Maxine.
All right, number 3 for me is Longlegs. Upon my first viewing, I was underwhelmed. I felt they oversold how scary the movie was, But after watching it a second and third time, I was wrong. Like, this is a very uncomfortable and unnerving movie. I gave it 4.5 out of 5.
All right, 2 and 1 are real close. Number 2 for me, I gotta go with Heretic. I'm picking that movie in February for my theme. Dude, this movie creeped me the hell out. Seeing it in theaters, the atmosphere, the tension. Mr. Hugh Grant gave the best performance of the year to me. I don't care. I'll argue with a wall. Fuck off. He was scary as hell. I loved it. I love Heretic. I think I could rewatch it. It has rewatchability, and it's just in one house really. And there's him and 2 girls. It's creepy as hell. I loved it. It makes you think. It makes you feel. I loved Heretic, and it has like an ambiguous ending, kind of, to where you can interpret it how you want to, but it's not like American Psycho, or like what the fuck just happened, or anything like that. So I loved Heretic. It's one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah, it is a good one. Number 2 for me, Abigail. I had this one in the chamber for next month, I believe. I had so much fun with this movie. It took some cues from Ready or Not, which I also loved. I met Melissa Barrera, and she is quite honestly the nicest celebrity I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. Um, Alicia Ware, Catherine Newton both killed it, and Kevin Durand. I can't wait to review it. My second favorite movie of the year.
Again, these two are interchangeable to me. I love both of these movies so much. My number 2, which would have been my number 1 until about probably 3.5 months ago, is Late Night with the Devil. I fucking love this movie. Jack Delroy, great character, great concept. This like spooky late night talk show. Honestly, it's great. I can't believe it's not my number 1. Uh, this ideal of possession being real or not. They kind of use a James Randi stand-in with Carmichael. I love that, and I love that. And I love the ending, and I love the possession aspect of this film because it's freaky. It's very creepy. This movie is so well paced, so well done, and incredibly creative. To kind of, there's a lot of movies that are about possession, and a lot of them are kind of paint by numbers, and this one is just not. They get really creative and really fun, and I enjoy the hell out of it.
All right. Number 2 for me is going to be Heretic. Hugh Grant crushed it. Movie had great tension and enough suspense to keep you invested throughout. And it had very well placed comedic relief as well. A24 does it again. They simply do not miss. 4.5 out of 5.
I'm cutting that.
Yeah, I love that movie, man. It was great. Number 1 for me is no surprise, Mike. Your number 2 was my 1, Late Night with the Devil. I really enjoyed it. And like one of our commenters on the show who commented on one of our posts said, there's really no big names, just kind of, like we know who David Desmalchian is, but he wasn't he's no Christian Bale. He's no Brad Pitt. He's nothing like that. Laura Gordon, she was in, Saw 5 momentarily. I think Ingrid Torelli gave the best possessed child performance I've ever seen. She was great. The movie just was so original. It looked beautiful on the big screen. I love the authenticity. I love the idea of selling your soul for fame and then it coming back to haunt you. I loved it. And like I mentioned when we reviewed it, when I went and saw it, it was during a really, really tough moment in my life, and it let me disconnect from it for like an hour and a half. So I appreciate it, and it's my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, all right. Number 1 for me, I saw the TV Glow. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not watching that stupid bullshit unless Dustin is an asshole one day and just fucking picks it. I don't know. But my number 1 is actually no surprise. Ghostbusters 4, Frozen Empire. We reviewed it. I gave it a 9.5. The more I watch it, the more I love it. I may even go higher now. I don't know. But by far my most anticipated movie of the year, and it lived up to my expectations after my second plus watch.
Yeah, my number 1, I cannot believe this movie shot all the way up there. My number 1 is The Substance. I freaking love this movie. We're going to be reviewing it coming up. I picked it. I really went out of my way to see it through means after Nico and Dustin hyped it up so much. So I was like, man, it can't. There's got to be something to it. It's getting some love from people like Dead Meat James and other movie reviewers. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch this. Boy, I'm glad I did. This movie is freaking incredible. Demi Moore is great. Margaret Qualley is great. Dennis Quaid is such an asshole in this movie, and he pulls it off great. We got to pump it up. There's so much great stuff in this film. I can't wait to review it. I don't want to just get into a long review now, but it is wild, insane, and as far as the messaging goes, one of the more smartly done films I've seen in a while. The body horror is disgusting. The music is so fun. Can't wait to freaking review it. My favorite film of the year, The Substance.
Yeah, before I give my number one, I thought of another honorable mention that I wanted to point out. Brian was talking about Melissa Barrera. Your Monster was a movie that like no one heard of, but it was so much fun. It's a horror comedy, and she's the lead in it, and I thought it was great. It was about a 7 out of 10 for me, so it did quite make the cut for my top 10. But that was a lot of fun. You should watch that one. My number one though is The Substance. What a ride! I mean, it's original content that deals with some very relevant themes. You know, self-image, the desire to remain forever young, old white men dictating the narrative of what beauty is. And man, was this movie daring! Just incredible vulnerability from Demi Moore to take on the role and put herself out there in such an exposed way. The direction, the editing, the effects, the makeup, also phenomenal. Hats off to everyone involved. Also, I fell in love with Margaret Qualley. 4.5 out of 5, borderline 5.5, or borderline 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd for me.
Hey, buddy, if you can't watch Pump It Up and not fall in love with her, I don't know what to tell you. That's
I don't think I've had shrimp since I've seen that movie, to be honest
I
with
wouldn't
you.
either. I would not either, buddy. Oh,
I
no, that
mean,
shrimp
because I
and
don't
grits
eat
from
that
my wedding
disgusting
may
stuff.
hit, though. Hey, that shrimp and grits from my wedding may change my mind. Straight
Oh,
up.
oh hell yeah. I'm bodying 2 bowls of it. Anywho, 2024 was a great year of horror movies. It was much appreciated, honestly. I didn't think 2023 was that great. I do think 2022 was really good. You could compare both years, and it's pretty close. But I think 2024 does get the edge. Guys, any final thoughts before we get out of here? I appreciate y'all joining me for this. This was a fun show.
Yeah, 2024 is better because 2022 had Halloween in, so cannot win the category.
Yeah,
That's
and
that's true.
I'll just say support cinema. See as many as possible.
That's my goal for 2025, baby, to support cinema in a better or way.
Brian, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm glad we did this. Like I said, I don't know of another year that we've watched this many movies to be able to even do one of these. And by watched, I mean even reviewed. I mean, we've reviewed a lot of 24 movies. So yeah, I'm glad we did it. Maybe
All right,
we
we
should
appreciate.
make this a yearly thing.
Yeah, I'm down for sure. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Comment some of your favorites on our post. Y'all have a good one.